seconds for a defense. So a small timing window being exploited by Team Liquid. Beautiful play by them. Let's go to game number 2. As the battleground has been chosen, let's figure out where exactly we are going. It looks like it's going to be Tomb of the Spider Queen as Team Liquid chooses the battleground. Fnatic will take first pick.
And right now, of course, that's a lot of momentum also for Liquid. I mean, we've been talking a lot about how is Fnatic going to deal when they fall behind. Are they going to have that resilience that we've seen from other teams to really just push them and say, okay, just take it one map at a time, we can still take this. But for Liquid, after the victories yesterday already, they are now in a spot where they just must be absolutely elated. They had a rough early game. They lost the super early Dragon Knight, they lost the second one, the third one as well, and then all of a sudden there's like kills coming in on Fnatic's side too, where things just don't really work out. You have Last Hope creating one kill opportunity after another through his burrows and the drags that he has. Then all of a sudden the catapults nearly take you down, you barely survive with 9%, and you maybe also shrugged it a little bit off, like, let's try it, but probably we're going to lose this one. And then you all of a sudden create opportunities, you come out swinging, you can take the Dragon Eye, you get the keep. They must be in high spirits at this point and ready to take on Fnatic on game 2.
I mean, not to point it out too early here, but similar thing happened to us in last phase where Team Liquid coming in part 2 of phase 1 part 2. We're in a position where they actually were at the top of the leaderboards, and they held that for a couple of weeks. The main issue is that they fall apart. They have that Liquid curse that's always there. So that's something that, while if they do get today's victory, kudos to them, they have to maintain that. Because where Team Liquid always falls short is the later stages right before we move into the offline events.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens on game number 2 right now. I really want to see if Fnatic is coming back into this, if they can gain the momentum on Tomb, or if now Liquid is making a 2-0 lead a reality for themselves, and then bring that into game 3. Because as we said, this is really about how do you start into phase 2. And the games here don't only matter for the Western Clash, that's of course the first goal, but everything here also already counts towards BlizzCon. And that's going to be important as well. And every single one of these teams has stated, we want to go to the offline events. And especially Liquid, they've said so many times, we're tired of just sitting there and watching this. We want to be there. We want to be at BlizzCon, which is done with always just falling short just by a little bit. And a victory over Fnatic would be a massive step forward towards the goal.
I mean, it got to a point with Team Liquid where it used to feel bad that they weren't an event, but now we're getting used to it. It almost feels like they're falling off as a team, and so they want to do it now, and now is their time to be able to get these wins. So going to game number 2, looks like we're almost set up here for Tomb of the Spider Queen. Look for them to control the map. Look for them to control those turn-ins, which are incredibly important. We might be seeing that Johanna once again popping in here for that main tank, as Team Liquid has already showcased that in the past.
And one of the things we can take away from the last game is also that so far, at least Last Hope looks good. Team Liquid still showing the resilience that they showcased against Dignitas, for example.
Yeah.
Just in phase 1, we had a similar game. They were down the entire time, and then towards the late game, they won the important fights, and they closed the game out. So now we're having first pick for Fnatic, and Fnatic has to adjust here. They played a great first map, but Team Liquid took the victory. Right now we're going to see if they make any adjustments for the map specifically. We talked a bit about Mena also with his plays. You mentioned Kel'Thas a bit earlier. I feel if we are going to see Kel'Thas in the setup, if it fits the draft, then Tomb of the Spider Queen would be one of the maps where that could be the case.
If we're getting Kel'Thas, we'd love to see a Malfurion first pick. Malfurion comes in, obviously that doesn't mean KT, but Malfurion feels really natural with Kel'Thas, being able to follow up on that Graviolapse into a root, and of course giving him the Innovate to make sure that he's popping out those abilities as much as possible.
I mean, this is a hero that especially Smexy doesn't really enjoy that much, so he's more so a fan of other supports that he can play, but of course Malfurion has the highest priority, since just from a meta perspective, he is such a fantastic hero and just ahead of the curve. So now they're going into that early Malfurion pick here. For me personally, it's still a question, okay, what are we going to see around Blaze? Because especially when we look at today's games, Blaze has won every single one. The track record of Blaze is still absolutely fantastic, and he has such a massive impact, especially on maps that have a big need of wave clear and a very dominant, important solo lane. So we could see that being picked away by Fnatic if Liquid doesn't go for it. But we have it as an early pick here for Liquid. They don't play around with that. Blaze right away, and Hanzo on top of it.
And Hanzo, even before he became incredibly popular, Team Liquid always had an affinity for the Zero. They played him a lot when he first came out. They love the ability to have those snap decisions to force the engage with Dragon Zero. Started to become Chris afterwards for Zealots, but Team Liquid was original Hanzo players.
I mean, one of the heroes that for Liquid also comes to mind immediately is Maiev. They played it a lot. We haven't really seen that yet too much. We have seen Fnatic with Maiev as well. Always highly depends on what you're up against.
Yeah.
So far, we haven't seen any Chromie picks. We might see her banned out again if Fnatic is unwilling to snap her up early here.
I felt like Maiev was a Nurok special, so I do wonder if Team Liquid's going to put that out. We've seen Hasso, I think, dabble in it once.
That's one of the questions that we definitely have. Heroes that have been played by Nurok in the past, is that something that gets picked up by the team now on another position? Or is it something where they are saying, okay, this was a flavor that we had mainly because that one hero excelled there, and we're going to switch away from it now because Arcana, for example, wants to play a different style because Hazops is not going to fall into that spot. But be that as it may, Fnatic now with Jaina, and it echoes more and more what we are mentioning earlier, that Europe has definitely taken a huge page out of the book of North America, where Jaina has always been a strong hero in phase 1 of 2018 and have now incorporated it as well. We saw it even in phase 1 from a few European teams, Fnatic being one of them, but now that everyone is starting to jump more so on the burst damage, burst mage train, we're having Fnatic prioritizing Jaina a lot higher here, just simply so Liquid can't take her away anymore.
It's interesting how we also have gotten more into the water elemental phase. It used to be Ring of Frost Jainas all the time, and now I'm starting to see like 50-50 on it. It used to be 90-10%, but now we get that water elemental. It allows for you to get that initial impact of the water elemental coming out, applying an auto attack, so you get that chill factor, and then you can follow up then with an exposure.
I think in general we still see a lot of Ring of Frost, and for good reason, but I feel depending on who you're up against, water elemental can be great to just apply that slow effect.
Yeah.
For example, in the last game, we had it used to a large extent in fights to put pressure on Mena, where he always had the water elemental on him and was trying to move out of these situations. And of course, it also played a massive role after the team fight over the Team Liquid's keep at the bottom right, where then Liquid could chase continuously and really ramp in those kills because they couldn't escape. Now, we talked about a Chromie potential ban, and that's exactly what we're getting here. Also, with Last Hope showcasing the Haka in game number 1, we're having him banned out right away. He was doing a fantastic job with connecting these drags and actually creating a lot of opportunities for follow-up CC to be stacked on a hero and kill opportunities created, especially with Jaina now in and the burst damage being available. That's something they don't want to deal with. And that is going to force Last Hope into a different hero for the solo lane.
I was wondering about Garrosh as a pickup here for Team Liquid. It is Sport Billion. We haven't got to see him on in a while, and he is wonderful in the hero. There is some concerns when there's Jaina poking you around, and you also have the water elemental coming down. It means you might have to use the Indomitable earlier than you want to, which means that your flamethrower engages need to be crisp, but it's doable. It's Team Liquid here. Sport Billy loves the character, and you can also follow it up to if you want to move into damage support. You could also grab Stukov here if you would like to. A lot of pickups available for Team Liquid.
No, Mena, I would, without seeing the rest of Liquid's draft now, I would still expect him to prioritize Ring of Frost, if he can.
Ooh, Stitch is coming out. There's Stukov too.
Alright, Stitches, Stukov. Hook into Silence, into a Blaze. A lot of slows coming in. Yeah? Liquid. Pulling out a couple of pretty cool drafts here. Trying to threaten Fnatic with this. Now, Jaina is the one who has to be careful.
Exactly.
In particular, like her more so than anyone else. I think Malfurion, of course, once he has 13 in his ice block, can start dodging it a bit more easily. But for Breeze, it shouldn't be an issue. But it might definitely affect the last few picks for Fnatic here.
Now, some folks are afraid of playing a Stitches against a Johanna, but what I like about the Stitches pickup is that it immediately says, okay, Johanna now has to react to me. The ways that she positions is always looking for that deny on the hook, right? Because of the Iron Skin, so she is like, trying to get in the front line to be the one to say, all right, if we do get hooked, it'll either be me or I can at least Iron Skin it out. Which means suddenly Team Liquid can kind of dictate how they want to move around the map, and it makes it where Fnatic plays a little bit more reclusive compared to what they normally would.
Yep, and I mean, solo lane is going to be important to me now. Are we going to see Leoric, for example? I think in this setup, it would definitely make sense to get him. He has an escape tool available. You have the slows. You have also the Entomb to be used here. Yeah, Leoric. And Tychus. We talked about Tychus just yesterday, and I'm happy that we're actually seeing him here.
It's funny, because if I think Tychus, I would think I would get it from Team Liquid before Fnatic. We've seen it been dabbled in a little bit in the past, but...
True, Hazops has shown quite Tychus games here for sure, so I'm actually not wrong. With Team Liquid showing some Tychus games in previous phases, that would have been definitely a pick, but yeah, for them it works as well. They have a lot of targets there at the front fire.
Do you go Gorge here for Team Liquid?
Right now, I would probably go Gorge. Depends a bit on what that last pick is gonna be, if they can capitalize on anything. I mean, you can always go both. It depends a bit on what kind of playstyle you actually want to use. If you're really looking a lot of about the isolations, then you would definitely try and go for Gorge and try to just set everything up with Sukov so that you kill the target. On the side of Liquid, you could maybe... I mean, what do you have in terms of escape tools? If the silence is coming in a bit too late, you have Johanna with the Iron Skin, you have Leoric going for a Wraith Walk. Tychus might survive a bit longer if he pops Odin in time. But I think there's a lot of good arguments to be made to go for...
Ooh, Tassadar comes out.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, I was actually...
Force Walls over Arc, maybe?
I was wondering about possibly a Greymane coming in there for that final pickup to help with the burst, gives you a little bit of wave clear too, and allows you to clean up some targets, but Tassadar instead, meaning we are getting a hyper carry Hanzo.
No, I'm not so sure if I really want to see Gorge anymore. I was expecting more damage and more burst to really take a target apart, maybe even some additional CC depending on who you pick.
Be a little one-dimensional for sure.
I mean, with Tassadar and Stitches, you can always think about, okay, are we going to see Force Walls here because you're just getting the hook and you're trying to set the walls up. But normally, these days, it's more so Archon that we see, and for good reason. You want to add the additional damage.
Yeah.
So I would still expect that. But this is actually an interesting one, because normally we would expect Archon to come out here. But you can definitely make an argument why, with Force Balls on this small map, you can really just close off opponents and make it difficult for them to run anything.
Especially if you get a Stukov stance and then you force wall behind it when they try to retreat and they're just locked in that target, especially post 13. It's scary. We'll see what's going to happen here as we get ready for game number 2. Team Liquid taking on Fnatic. Team Liquid actually has a lead right now, 1-0.
And we're heading into game number 2.
And we're heading out of game number 2. Welcome back to the desk here as we get ready here for the actual match itself. There we go.
We're flip-flopping a little bit today, but it's fine. To the left side, we have Fnatic with Last Hope playing Leoric. We see Mena, of course, on Jaina playing the mage for the team. Breeze is playing at the front line on Johanna with Shrimpy on the auto attack, going for Tychus, and Smexy on Malfurion.
On the right side, in the red, Ocelot's playing Tassadar, Nurok on Stukov, Sport Billy on Stitches, Arcaner on Hanzo, and Eternal to finish up the roster on Blaze.
This is going to be good. Fnatic, I mean, the first map was fantastic. I really liked it. A lot of back and forth here. But here comes the nice hook attempt by Sport Billy. That was a pretty cool move, trying to sneak past and grab an early kill. Didn't quite work out for them, but already showing how Liquid is trying to create these opportunities and spice things up a little bit. Again, it allows Fnatic, on the other hand, to approach the wave first and take that quickly. So they have now a slight lead when it comes to the 4-man rotation.
We'll be keeping an eye on Sport Billy. He'll be the one to make plays in the early game here for Team Liquid. Later on, if the side storm gets finished up, to be helpful there for Tassadar. Immediate hook comes out, and Johanna will pop that Iron Skin and just back away. Something that you'll see probably repeated pretty often throughout this matchup.
Yeah, and of course in this case, it's really the follow-up to Stukov that's going to be important here to threaten the target, and in this case wasn't there. Stukov was at the top. But the 4-man rotation gets actually a bit dominated by Fnatic right now, and not only that, Eternal at that bot lane is eating a lot of damage. That was fantastic for the solo lane here for Last Hope. It forces Eternal to an early tap, and so at this point, the rotational work of Fnatic is actually working quite well. I mean, they have now control of the mid-top rotation again. 2 heroes still busy at the bot lane. So they can start to go for Sport Billy and put a bit more damage on him. And that's even... Oh my god, that might be a kill even!
Gets rooted, trying to retreat. Stukov gives him the big heal. Hook comes out. There's the Tassadar shield as well. Team Liquid trying to turn this around. Can Arcaner get the bounce off the Scatter Arrow? Doesn't matter. Smexy actually sets up to block it. Small... wonderful support play there. First off, healing was coming out for Shrimpy, he would have been fine, but Smexy was willing to eat those arrows for his teammate. Things like that are what make a great player really show up on the map.
Yeah, that was definitely good by them. Nice hook again by Billy though. Shrimpy gets hit by one of the turrets. But just imagine what would have happened if the bigger they are would already have been in play for for Shrimpy. Sport Billy would have fallen for sure.
Yeah.
So it shows that aggression that you have around that burst. And if you think about it, any approach onto Stitches later on with Jaina, Tychus, and someone else hurts. If they at any point get the drop on that, you get the bigger the R duration through, and then Jaina comes in with some additional burst damage, you're in trouble. Talking about being in trouble, Shrimpy is in a lot of that.
A lot of trouble here. Overkill comes out. Shrimpy's trying to deal with him, but Eternal's able to kite away pretty well, dropping down even the slow, helping him, but Sport Billy will keep him alive. And even though we've had a lot of tussling so far, still a 0-0.
I love this game.
Yeah.
This series is awesome. Great opportunities created by both teams here, really going for it. Bigger they are now picked up on level 4. We have also for Tassadar, Kala's light taken, so the extra armor making perfect sense with the setup here and how aggressive a lot of these situations have been. But I'm liking this. Both of the teams aggressively looking for that first kill.
Rocket coming online too here for Malfurion is going to be helpful to stop denying those hooks. Just another health bar in the way. If they ever do pop in.
Turn in so far for Liquid. They've been doing well on the objective. But we have now the attempt of Smexy to go for that too. Of course, Stitches is still at the top lane. They know that. They have him in vision. At the bottom, it's still Eternal. Eternal on Blaze going up against Last Hope. The wave clears there for Fnatic. But yeah, we have a game. We have a series on our hands. He's, by the way, the one with 28 gems, and they need to be very careful that they don't lose him.
You know, Fnatic trying to get a kill here in the bottom lane. Eternal has to play it incredibly carefully. He's been under siege this entire game, it feels like, for Eternal on Blaze. He's dropped off a total of 39 gems, though. Team Liquid will need 11 more here to get their first turn in. Sporadly gets caught in a root here, but shouldn't be getting caught out. Doing just fine so far as they continue to delay. It's been the name of the game here for Team Liquid. They definitely have the tools to do so. Hook comes out. Johanna gets locked down. There's a silence. She's walking in the turret range, takes a turret shot. Arcana steps up, drops the Sonic Arrow. Won't be able to get the kill, but Team Liquid trying to find their own picks.
That was a fantastic combo, putting Breeze into an extremely awkward spot, and Norok was immediately ready with the Lurking Arm. So that was just an absolute win for Liquid. Not only getting the hook in and the Lurking Arm combo, but in a very, very weird spot for Breeze to escape. And he barely moved out of the silence and was able to hit his Steed. Breeze
close.
was able to turn in after the initial shot missed. Hanzo in the second attempt is finally able to make sure that Breeze can't connect the turn in. But yeah, Liquid is waiting for the completion on the turn in themselves. But Billy now might be in a bit of trouble. Smexy missing the root, but that's a ton of damage still. But the Devour keeps Stitches alive.
And poor Billy couldn't turn around and try and drop a hook yet because of the broccoli, but he hits this one. Hits Shrimpy. Shrimpy takes some damage there. Sidestorm comes out as well. Constant back and forth between these two.
Yeah, definitely. Both of them are really, really working for that first kill of the game. But when it comes to turn-ins, Liquid is just so dominant here. Breeze is not able to shake these gems off, and with him being the frontliner, it's not really a spot you want to be in. You're absolutely fine collecting those gems, but you also expect to eventually getting rid of them.
It's starting to get to a point, too, where he feels like he might not be able to afford getting hooked. Get hooked underneath the turret wall, the silence comes out again, you can't Iron Skin, that's 37 gems, gone.
Look at Last Hope too, like Last Hope is in a similar spot. The two tanks and two frontliners hold most of the gems, as you usually see, but the thing is, they want to get rid of those so that they can also play a bit more aggressively.
Eternal keeping this lane pushed in, making it hard for Leorc to disappear on him to go for that turn in. 11 more gems needed for Team Liquid. They've been trying to sneak it through, but Fnatic's doing a really good job of roadblocking them themselves as Breeze goes for another turn in, but Hasselhoff steps back. Dimensional shift to make sure he does not get condemned in.
Both of them actually do pretty well here at controlling the turn-ins for now, but yes, it's definitely Liquid who has done the better job in general. Now, the Stitches build is, of course, at this point full sustain, going into the Regeneration Master, having the Amplified Healing, and now even going for the level 7. So they're going to try and get the regeneration of Stitches, increase it by Devour. So Savor the Flavor is going to help with that in the long run, and it's going to make Stitches more tanky and more self-sustainable as well. Breeze is at 46 gems right now. They are holding 92. This is actually a bit ridiculous. We're on level 8, level 9, and we haven't seen a web weaver wave yet.
Team Tank rhymed the bank, and Breeze right now is making sure to hold all those gems there. Needs to drop them off at some point. 97 available for Fnatic. They do inch their way towards level 10.
If one of those frontliners dies, they are in trouble.
Yeah, you're going to see full chaos pop out between the two.
Billy wants to hook, and he wants to turn in.
He's got enough here.
They all do basically at this point. Only Norok doesn't. Only Norok and Arcana don't have enough to get the turn-in confirmed here. Yeah, once again, Arcana is a little bit low here. A lot of damage against him. Billy with a turn-in, there it is. Liquid with a first wave, but Fnatic should have level 10 to defend.
And at an important time, Fnatic was about to get level 10 themselves, so they could force the issue and try to grab the turn-in. Team Liquid gets it now, and they should be able to stick up 10 during the Web Weaver push. Fnatic will have a small window where they'll be able to clear that out, and of course they have really good defense, especially with Odin coming in line for Tychus.
Yeah, and Ring, by the way, for Jaina. So as we talked about earlier, Mena prefers Ring over the water element. I feel in this setup it really works also well for him. But this is where you aggressively want to defend, because you have the level 10s, so you're a bit more aggressive about that, but Liquid, of course, have their own ability by now. But talking about it, here we go! Down he goes! We have Hanzo deleted with a great ring combo that we saw there.
Couldn't even jump away from that fight. Helping Hand couldn't even save him in time. He's completely blown up. Team Liquid will have to sit aside and watch as Fnatic clears up these pushes that are coming towards them. The wall in the bottom lane does get cleaned up, and the top side is taking a little bit of damage here, but Team Liquid has to wait for Hanzo, who has just now spawned.
Smexy gets hooked, doesn't hold any gems, so that works for him. Nice counter route here. Billy walks away, Nurok misses the shot, but that was only a defensive measure anyway. He's going to be back up pretty soon. And Fnatic walks away with the lead in experience after Team Liquid has their first objective completed. Question still remains. Can Fnatic turn in? 128 gems in their hand.
They certainly have the gems for it.
Yeah, they do.
Haas is going to delay here.
Both teams, by the way. Liquid still has 71.
Oh, yeah, they do. 2 turn-ins in a row. Could finally get them the fourth. They were trying to get off that first push.
Oh, Blaze.
Boom. Rude.
Oh, they go for him. 30 gems on Eternal. 30 there. And they are losing the hero, but they're recovering the gems. But that's the opportunity for Fnatic to turn in. If you don't turn in now, you're going to have a rough time completing any turn-in. You have a 5 versus 4. This is the moment.
Sidestorm delays it again. Another scatter arrow comes in. Annoying it's been so far here for Fnatic. Hook comes out. They find Tychus, but he's able to dash away. Close.
Yeah, close one. Shrimpy barely getting out. And that was a moment when Nurok was half a second too late on the silence. If he connects it a bit earlier, I mean, it's tough to pull off in that stage, and so there's like no blame on him. But yeah, if he pulls it off half a second earlier, that's a dead Tychus.
Fnatic just have an experience, and are going to try to do some more here too. Remember that top wave is opened up already engaged, so they can make a play for that 4 if they want. And they can commit to it also. Yeah. They can drop Odin and say, we want this.
Exactly. And I mean, what a game we're watching here. What a match. This is the first match for Fnatic in HGC Europe Phase 2 of 2018. And Liquid, of course, they know how important it is for themselves as well if they want to go to the offline events, to the Western Clash, to BlizzCon. But Fnatic, with that push, is going to hit that level 13 talent advantage, and that might be too much for Liquid. Here comes again the root with the ring. They go for Stitches, and Stitches only wanted to play, but he finds death in the process. Nurok, 60 gems! They're going for him, and Stukov is down. 60 gems lost. Arcana's thinking about recovering them. That's not going to work out. And that is a massive setback for Liquid and a huge victory for Fnatic.
This means they can't go for a turn-in after they defend all this, and they're losing forts too. The middle lane took a little bit of damage, bottom lane's being pushed in. Fnatic can commit fully to this fort finally. Arrow comes out on the backside as Arcaner was trying to force something, it looked like. Arcaner, however, gets the full back away. And Team Liquid are now down a talent tier, down a fort, and down gems.
1.5 levels down, and the thing is, Fnatic has another double turn-in.
Yep.
They have another 2 turn-ins. 150 gems still. So this is really the moment where Fnatic can completely spiral the game out of control. And they are already trying to do exactly that. Liquid is back with a 5 versus 5, but here comes the turn, and Bluebird Weavers are going to come down once more. And this is now the talent advantage. They're not going to hold it for until the defense starts. But the experience lead, that's a big one.
13 comes online for Team Liquid. Perfect for Stukov. Gonna need that in. Also, 3 more levels, and Tassadar will help double side storms will be helpful for wave clear. But right now they have to focus on keeping their keeps healthy. The hook comes out, he grabs Shrimpy, the silence is on time, but Smexy with the Nature's Cure will be able to get him out.
Billy has great hooks the entire game, but now Eternal needs to drop the bunker, and that bunker gets burned down quickly. He's trying to move away, the ring again, the mana just destroying on Jaina now.
Mana just falling up perfectly on there. Ooh, another hook connects there as they try to pull him underneath the keep. It's okay, they're able to back up. The middle wave in trouble as we just saw there. Fort taking damage, the top being pushed in as well. Team Liquid just trying to make sure they can set up a defense on the bottom lane. This is all they care about.
It's 5 kills against 0, but this game is so much closer than the kill count indicates at this point. Liquid, there's so many good hooks and follow-ups, but Fnatic keeps the targets alive and then is able to drop them with just simply rings as they move in for the counter action. And they are going for the first keep here. And they're snowballing this quickly. Billy gets entombed here. Broccoli comes through. Not enough damage, but it definitely zones Stitches out as the first keep of the game falls. Fnatic has taken the 3-level lead. They are destroying structures everywhere. The top lane is pushing in heavily. Blaze trying to defend it as Fnatic is moving into the middle.
Things are getting very desperate for Team Liquid. They are getting to a point where Sportbilly has to hit a hook and they have to kill a target quickly. 17 to level 13, a 4-level lead in favor of Fnatic. And again, you mentioned it before we even got that first turn-in. Another turn-in is available for Fnatic, and this time, if they get it, they'll be pushing with catapults.
Exactly, they will pushing with catapults, they can try and maybe even push for core depending on the situation. They can go for a second keep here. They are looking fantastic at this point. Fnatic in game number 2 definitely running the show here as we have Liquid going for the camp. They might not really be able to grab that, but Fnatic is playing this safe. And not overextending it. They're not trying to make too much of a play in this case. They're going to defend against it instead. But Fnatic has the Web Weavers coming through. And that's the moment when they will at least attempt to get another key.
This is actually starting to feel a little bit like game to me. Odin being available, Big Knight Camp pushing the middle wave, Web Weavers in every single lane going straight for this core. Team Liquid is going to need a miracle defense.
Yeah, they need that isolation kill. They need Sport Melee to completely connect that. It's not an easy feat by any means, especially with there not being a lot of room available anymore. Fnatic pushes into the middle. Web Weavers up at the top. They're going to try and take every single keep down at this point. The Putrid Ball comes through. Here's the Entomb, the ring, the kill. Stitches is down.
He can't move. He just gets completely locked down. And with another Odin popping out for Schwimpy, he will just shred this front line. Arcano doing what he can to clear out the mini wave from behind, but another wave comes. That's going to be the second keep. The third keep in the top right left corner is in trouble, but Team Liquid has worse things they have to deal with as their core is under siege.
Liquid made Fnatic mad on the last map, and now Fnatic is going in and they're executing their revenge here. This time it's not going to stop at 9% on the core. Fnatic goes in, they drop in, and they take the game. 6 kills against 0, level 18 versus 15 as Fnatic claims victory on 2 of the Spider Queen and ties up the series.
Ridiculous execution when it comes to locking down a target and blowing them up. Tychus, when he's able to jump onto a target and they cannot move, which would happen multiple times, he will shred their health bar. Stitches, getting hit with the Entombs into the Ring of Frost, could not do anything. And Nurok playing Stukov, he has no way to actually heal them up and keep them alive. Beautiful play there from Fnatic, 6-0, but it felt like a slaughter towards the end.
Yeah, Whoopi doing really well on his Smurf account here on a Last Hope. It does exceptionally well with that. Great setups. But dumb jokes aside, I mean, coming in, I really expected to see